Hey everyone, it's Johnny, your independent Scentsy consultant. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to talk about fragrance feedback part 2, the non-Scentsy waxes. Alright, so the tongue twisting continues. Great. Alright, so I do have a bunch here. I've been warming like a madman, and we're going to talk about them. So these will not be Scentsy ones. If you want to see those, check out the previous video, the part 1. But with that being said, let's dive right in, because there's a bunch. First off, we have some Partylite Scent Plus Plum Brandy. And this one... So this one was disappointing, because you got the plum component of this at the very beginning of warming, for maybe like the first hour or so. And then after that, it was just like brandy. And it was soft. So it was like, what is the scent going on in the background? It's not plum. It's like this weird sort of like boozy note. And it was brandy. And there was a musky note to this. So overall, this was not what I was hoping it would be. I was hoping for something a little bit more fruity and bright. And it just was like kind of heavy and musky. So not a big fan. And it didn't last very long. So that was also slightly disappointing. But oh well. Next up is Moss Birchwood, also from Partylite. This one smells oh so lovely. Oh so lovely in the clamshell, and was almost undetectable warmed. Like, you knew there's some sort of light cologne-y scent there. It's like a cologne woodsy scent. Very masculine leaning. And I was like so excited for it, so stoked. Womp womp. So that was a bummer, but it is a beautiful scent if it actually threw. Next we did Blackberry Cedar Leaf, not Blackberry and Cedar Leaf, also from Partylite. This one actually performed better. You got the blackberry note, you got the cedar. There was something, because I think it's like the green note of the leaf that kind of threw this a little bit off for me. It was an okay smell. It did perform better than the other two, surprisingly. Like, as in it lasted most of the day, but it ended up being more of like almost like a green tree leaning cedar smell rather than like cedar wood, at least for me. So that's, you know, it was a good scent. Would I get it again? Probably not. But it wasn't bad. All right, next we got through this random brand that I was given from like a purchase as a thank you. And this, I don't know even what the brand is. Well, Melt Moments, maybe? I don't know. And this one is Espresso Bean. This was basically a coffee scent. And it wasn't particularly like super coffee. I felt like it was more like caramel coffee than it was an actual coffee scent. It lasted most of the day, but it wasn't particularly like awe-inspiring or jaw-dropping, or like didn't remind me of like a Starbucks coffee shop or anything either. But it was nice. I would probably not try that again. And then this vanilla cream one from La Tida Fundraising, I think is the brand. La Tida Fundraising. And it smelled like vanilla. I mean, this is dead on for vanilla, so I can't fault them for that. It wasn't my favorite iteration of vanilla I've ever smelled, but it was very much vanilla. I don't know if it was vanilla cream specifically, but it was definitely vanilla scent. Kind of one-dimensional overall, but it was vanilla. So there's that. Let's move on to some more exciting ones. We got through some Destination Wax. We got through London Rain. This is a warm rainy day in London Park. Rain, citrus, florals, and wood. A Jo Malone Rain and Angelica scent. And this is beautiful. It's soft. There's a freshness to this. But it was, my biggest complaint with this one was it was surprisingly softer than I expected. Like, a lot of Destination Wax ones that I've tried so far have been like very present in the room. Not necessarily always a powerhouse, but very present, like medium to strong. This one was much softer. And while I love the scent, there were times where it would get lost in the shuffle of the room. And I don't know if it was just like that day, that scent profile was just not wanting to be picked up by my nose or what. But I just felt like it was really soft and I had to be fairly within proximity to my warmers to smell it. But it is a beautiful scent. It was soft, but I really like it. And I would try this one again to give it another go because I've otherwise loved most of the stuff in terms of performance from Destination Wax. All right, Arctic Sea Coast is also from Destination Wax. This is a crisp ocean scent with fresh green seaweed in a good way and notes of ozone and cologne. This one I wasn't as fond of personally. It performed well, so let's start with the good. You do get a cologne note. You do get like that fresh, I don't so much get fresh green. I do get a lot of ozone, and I think that ozone sort of scent, like the Ozium Febreze kind of like artificial carpet or room spray smell. I get a little bit of that vibe in here, and it throws me off. It's like that kind of soapy quality, and I think if it wasn't quite as soapy cologne sort of smelling, I would have loved this a lot more than I did. I would warm this again, but I don't know that I would go out of my way to get it. I think that there are much better options from her giant collection of scents, but it is a nice one, and it definitely performed well. Like I had no trouble smelling it, but it just wasn't my particular favorite combination. All right, next we had shaving cream from Destination Wax, described as fresh and clean shaving cream scent with almost no cologne, a great blender. And honestly, yeah, it's a fresh, sort of clean, slightly cream note scent. It does kind of remind me of shaving cream, like some of the lighter, not so heavily scented ones that you get. But it is light. It is light. And I do agree with her note there. Great blender scent. On its own, which is how I warmed it, it was nice, but I don't think it had the throughput and the strength to really carry it as much as if it were being blended with something else to kind of like richen the scent. So it's a nice scent. It is fresh. It is clean. I do like it, but I think it is better as maybe a blender or a mixer scent than on its own. All right, with that, we're going to shift gears over to Kringle, my dear friend Kringle. And we're going to start with Sunflower, which smells like... Oh, I think I put the lids on the wrong ones. Look at that. Oh, silly me. Yep. It smells like a weird floral. A green... There's a more green note to it. I don't necessarily know off the top of my nose what a sunflower smells like. But it smells like a green floral stem with maybe some other florally note to it. I mean, it was just forgettable for me. Like, I don't know if it was just me, but I've smelled so many more like vibrant or like distinct florals, and this one just kind of disappeared. And maybe it's just because that's what sunflowers smell like, or maybe it's this particular batch of wax that I ended up getting that was maybe a womp. Who knows? Next, I warmed apple basil. This one, you get the apple and you get the basil. It's an interesting combination. I'm not wildly fond of it as much as other scents, but it did perform about a medium for when it would performed. Like you did smell it without having to like crouch over the warmers. But I feel like there's just other apple scents I prefer more than apple with basil. So it's an interesting combo, but not something that I would go out of my way to get again. And then, surprisingly, as I throw it at the floor, surprisingly, Wild Poppies was a fantastic throw of a scent. And it does remind me of, I don't know if it reminds me of poppies, because I don't, again, remember what poppies particularly smell like. But it does have a floral scent. and it did throw, and it performed, and it like just kept going and going and going, and I was thoroughly surprised. Was it one of my favorites from their line or as a whole? No, but I would warm it again, and I would actually probably buy this one again because it performed surprisingly well, and it wasn't overwhelming, but you got like that floral sort of sweet vibrance to it. So I did like it. I didn't love it, but I did like it. So they do get points for that one. Kringle Candle Baker's Vanilla. This is a daylight candle. So what I do is I'll like chop these up into like 3 parts. They're like an actual like giant tea light. And for whatever reason, they perform like monsters in my warmers when I melt these in like warmers instead of burning them. So I don't know if like the ratios on their fragrance oils are different or more concentrated, but this performed, and it was Baker's Vanilla. It was a very much neutral baking vanilla. There was no like sweet extra nonsense in this. And it was so nice and heavenly. I would get this again. I would easily get this again and in the vanilla category. So Baker's Vanilla, great. Wild Poppies, pretty good. They have some good scents in there. You just have to like dig to find them apparently. All right, then I think we have one more from them if I can find it. Yes, from the country candle section of their candles stuff. I had Coconut Colada. And this one, this reminds me of, it kind of reminds me of if our Pina Colada Cha-Cha and Mahalo Coconut had like a hybrid scent blend. That's kind of what like this scent reminds me of. It also kind of gives me some coconut cotton vibes, minus the cotton note. Well, maybe. It kind of does remind me more of coconut cotton now that I'm thinking of it. Yeah, because there's less of a pineapple note. It's there, but it's more coconutty. So I would say that either way, if you were fans of like Mahalo Coconut or Coconut Cotton from Scentsy, one of those sort of scents, you might want to try this one if you can find it in their 6-pack melt or 6, whatever they're called, melts. This one was actually really well done, and it lasted all day, and you could smell it, and it was great, and I lived my coconut beach dreams. That's all there is to say about that one. All right. Shifting over to Hobby Lobby's Darcy and David collection. We start with Blackberry Cardamom. This one is beautiful. You get the blackberry for the first hour or 2, and then the second part of the warming, it's mostly just cardamom. And then it's kind of like, it's okay. There's a sweetness still lingering, but it's mostly just cardamom at that point. And cardamom is fine. I don't mind it. It's not cinnamon to me. It's not like, oh my gosh, more cinnamon in my life. But my biggest gripe with a lot of the Darcy and David collection is that they don't seem to last all day long. That's not always the case. And again, you know, Scentsy's had their duds as well. Every candle and wax company has their ones that just for some reason don't perform as we expect them to. But I find more often than not, I have to about 4 to 6 hours into warming any given Darcy and David scent, I have to put in another cube in order to keep the scent going at a like sort of optimal scent level. So that's just me, but it is a beautiful scent. I would pick it up again. I would definitely watch for their half off sales if you're going to purchase some of these, because then you can stock up for pretty cheap, and they are decent quality wax melts. I have had no issues with them actually performing overall. They just don't last very long in terms of throw. Anyways, that was a big long ramble about them. Let's talk about some more from there. Got through Grandma's Toffee. This is a decent scent. Again, scent throw didn't last through the whole day per se. This is more of a caramel than it is, and maybe even a slight butterscotch than it is an actual toffee sort of scent. Yeah, you get a lot more caramel to this. If you smelled Scentsy's salted caramel toffee or butterscotch toffee, whatever the one we had for this holiday season was, that one is more of what I think of like when I think of buttery toffee. This one was like more of a caramel whatever, drizzle, syrup, whatever bar. It was good. It was just not really what I was hoping for. There wasn't enough buttery note to it. And especially when like their first thing says butter, caramel, and vanilla, and you get mostly caramel and vanilla. So it was okay, but I've smelled other ones I prefer more. Then I got through Whisper. This is soft arrangement of floral and wood notes. And this one I thought I was going to hate. And while I wouldn't run to the store to stock up on it, I do really like this scent more than I thought I would. You do get a delicate floral scent, but it's like a almost fresh floral scent. And in the clamshell, it smells a little bit more perfumey and a little more powdery. And a lot of that disappears when you're warming it, which was very surprising for me. I would pick this up again. I don't know that I would stock up on it, but I would definitely warm this again. It was quite nice. And it had some good lasting power. This one was surprising. This one did last for most of the day. Actually, the next two lasted for most of the day, so we'll go through those as well. But Whisper. Then we had Tangerine and White Musk. So I smelled this, and on cold sniff, this kind of reminded me of Be Fabulous. And on warm melt of this, it is not quite Be Fabulous. It is more of, from our Mix It Up collection, like I think it was like grapefruit and orange or whatever the scent was. That is more closely resemblant to what this is. The musk note threw it off for me originally, and I was like, oh, it's going to be like Be Fabulous, hooray. It's on the same vein, and it does smell good, and it does perform quite well, but it's a different scent. So this is not a dupe by any means, and for either of those two scents, it's closer to our grapefruit and orange scent than it was Be Fabulous. I think Be Fabulous is definitely a very unique sort of scent to our catalog, at least from what I've smelled so far. But this is a good one. I would get this again, and I don't know, put it in my club that they don't have. Anyways, the last one from Darcy and David's is Citron Spring Water, and this is described as juniper and sage with notes of yuzu. I smelled this and thought I was going to hate it. In fact, I feel like this is one that at one point I thought it smelled a little bit like in cold, like cat pee. Let me tell you, wow, did this like blow my socks off. In terms of performance, in terms of scent profile, it did not smell like cat pee worm, just so we're clear. It did not smell anything like that. It was so refreshing, quite aquatic. Like, it smelled like a sort of like sweetened spring water that you're sitting at. And it's just like, I don't even know how to say it other than it was great. It was a powerhouse. It lasted all day. And I think you should go try it if you find it in the store. Because it was quite impressive. And it gave like, it hit all the fresh notes that I wanted it to. Yes. Yes, yes, and more of that. More of that, please, in your collections. That would be fantastic. All right, shifting gears again, I finally started getting through some Goose Creek stuff. We started with Summer Moon. This one, do we have scent notes on here? Probably not. Nope. All right, this one smells like cologne and soap to me. Or soapy cologne. Or like a man that was drowned in cologne and then thrown into a bubble bath. It's quite heavy for a scent. Which is surprising because it's called Summer Moon, and I don't think of summers as being a very heavy sort of scented thing. So I don't know what moon they were smelling. In terms of performance, oh yeah, it's a scent monster. It you know, blasted through the house and then some. But I don't think I would go and find this one again. It was just a little bit too pungent for my nose, and I was just thankful to be done warming it by the end of it. But it lasted the whole day. It was great. Lasted and lasted and lasted. Goose Creek's Tuscan Vineyard was another one I warmed. This one also performed really well. I will say, from the few that I've tried so far from Goose Creek, they do perform surprisingly well. I don't know what they have in there specifically, but that causes it. But that being said, they do throw, and they're strong. But anyways, this is a grape scent at the end of the day. It's a sort of fresh grape scent, but you still get that sort of purpley grapes kind of undertone, sort of artificial grape hints to it the more you warm it. But it is definitely very much a grape scent. It is one of the few grape scents, I'll say, that I actually tolerate, because usually purple grape sort of scents, no thanks. Don't like the candies, don't want to smell it. This one I didn't mind. I wouldn't go out of my way to find it again, but it is a very fresh sort of grape scent. So, that wasn't bad. Next, we're going to go into our dear old Walmart and go through a couple sensationals really quick. So, first we have Vanilla Pine. This is exactly like the name says. It's pine, it's vanilla, it throws like a beast. I don't think I need to sit here and go through it. The vanilla definitely mutes the pine, because pine can be a little bit stinging on the nose, I find, in terms of scent. This one is well balanced so that it wasn't overwhelmingly pine. You do get like the rich creaminess from the vanilla to mute it. So that was a win. I like it. I don't know if I'd go out of my way to hunt it down, but I did enjoy warming it. Next we have Celestial. This is it's described as out of this world. This one I had high hopes for, and it just kind of was like a meh for me. When you warm, or when you smell it, it smells kind of like a cologne, masculine scent. Very nice, very like clean. You warm it and it kind of just becomes this slightly odd masculine cologne scent with a weird off note to me. And I can't remember for when I was warming it. I have another bar of this, so I'll try it again and try to write that into our next feedback. But yeah, there's a little something that's off by it, just a little. And so it doesn't give me that full-on cologne experience that I was hoping for. And I don't know, maybe it's something alien in our out-of-this-world mix. But yeah, there's just something slightly off with the overall scent throw with this that bugs me a little bit. But it performed decently, so that was good. Then I warmed one of my favorites, Cuddle Up from Sensationals. This is tonka and oud and a bunch of other things if you look at their official website description of it. But it's a cozy, yummy scent. It reminds me of Cozy Cardigan if Cozy Cardigan didn't have the rose note to it. It has that like slight, it's not musty, it's like musk, I would say. But not like an old sort of musk, just like that, like when you're like curled up under the blankets and just like relaxed, and you have that kind of like linen-y sort of cozy smell. Not really linen, it's not really sheets, but it's just like the quality of where you're at sort of scent-ish. I don't know how to describe that. That was terrible. It smells good, basically. And I ended up stocking up on this because I, at one point, thought they were never going to make it again. And then they ended up having more of it. So I was very excited. But I do like this scent. And I hope they keep it for quite some time. I think it's a great neutral scent that can go year-round. It can go anytime. And it's not terribly offensive to any nose, at least, that I've had smell it yet. So there you go. All right. That's what I would have liked, like, our version of Welcome Home to smell like, as opposed to what all the Welcome Homes smell like, which is like a Michael's craft store. All right. Next, we have 3 from Better Homes and Gardens. We'll get through these quick. We have Summer Fruit Medley. This is a very strong, very pungent, kind of like orangey mandarin currant. I think it's the currant that really just sets it off a bit too much for me. Yeah, there's just like a brassiness, if you will, to this scent. And that alongside, like, you have cranberries and currants and all this, like, citrus, and it's just like, whoa! Not a favorite of it. This is in their new packaging as well. It's not a new scent, but the one I picked up was to demo their new labeling that they're going with. So I do appreciate that it has the scent notes in front of it, but at the same time, not really my cup of tea. All right. We have Apple and Oak. This is a limited edition, supposedly. The first time I warmed this, I couldn't smell a thing. The second time, I get like this oaky, earthen sort of vibe. Just a hint of apple. So this is like the opposite of like Fresh Orchard or Crisp Orchard apples or whatever it's called. Or like Johnny Appleseed or any of those scents that are like apple heavy with like a hint of wood maybe or a hint of something else in them. This is like wood with a hint of apple. At least in my experience, like the wood note came out far more than the apple did. But I actually smelled it this time and it did last, so that was a positive. Do I love it? It's okay, but I don't hate it and I would probably warm it again. So that is that one. And then we have Pure White Woods. This is a nice semi-subtle cologne fragrance. It's soft. It does last through the day. It's kind of, it has like a hint of Cuddle Up to me in this, but a little bit more cologne vibes and masculine than that, where that's more just neutral coziness. Yeah, it's a softer scent overall, and I don't mind it, but I feel like it doesn't do anything or stand out in a unique way compared to other ones I've had, so it is what it is. I would warm it again, but nothing to write home about personally. And then finally, from Target, we have Cardamom and Clove. I love this scent. I didn't think I would love this scent because I'm not a big spice person. But it's cardamom and it's clove. And it's just like such a beautiful blend of the two. And I not only have warmed this, because it has notes of cinnamon nutmeg. Honestly, I didn't really get a whole lot of cinnamon from this. I did get nutmeg though. I can see that. And I'm thankful that it wasn't cinnamon heavy. But I warmed this on its own and really enjoyed it. And then I also mixed this with Happy Birthday and Johnny Appleseed from Scentsy and made like my own apple spice pie, cake, not pie, sort of scent, and it was heavenly as well. So definitely recommend this not only as a mixer, but also on its own if you like that sort of scent profile. It's quite nice, and it's not like heavy, wintry sort of scent base. It's like a year-round spice. Ooh, excuse me. A yawn was coming for a minute there. All right, that brings us, fortunately, to the end of these empties. Oh my goodness, my recycling bin is going to hate me. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. You found it informative or fun or just great to pass the time. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. It is so wonderful to see your thumbs ups. Thumbs ups? Sounds like a workout. Anyways, hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in our next video. Take care, guys. Bye.